Well, hello and welcome to our weekly look at Tiffin University football. Hi, everybody. I'm Snyder, voice of the Dragons. To my right, head coach of the Dragons, who are on a nice little winning streak right now. Tiffin University head coach Ekkens. Coach, how are we doing today?
Doing well. Excited to be talking about Tiffin football.
2 more games left. Can you believe it? I mean, I think every year when I do this with the coaches, we talk about how fast the season's going. But it's your first year as a head coach. You know how the football season works. But it's a different monster when you're on top of it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a great year. It's been a big learning opportunity for me, and I think the thing that's crazy is I think back, it feels like it was just yesterday. We were sitting in the studio talking about Wayne State.
Yeah.
And I can't believe there's 2 weeks left here.
Yeah, Dragons this week will be on the road at Hillsdale before finishing up at home against Findlay. But first, let's talk about the game this past week at Kentucky Wesleyan. The team is kind of hard to figure out. We talked about it last week. You know, we looked at their wins and their losses. They got one of their wins. I forget where it was at, Northwood or something like that. It was like, how does that make sense with some of the other losses that they have? But that's a team that's got some athletes on the outside. Their quarterback got beat up a little bit in a game before we got to see both of their quarterbacks. But it was an interesting game down in Owensboro. Is that your first trip to that facility down there?
It was my first time down there, yes.
Yeah, it's not too bad of a place. I know the visitor side is not real high up, but I like the way the home side stands looking things. And Owensboro's a nice little community for sure.
Yeah, it was great to go down there, and every experience this year has been a new experience.
Right.
It was fun, and the trip, the guys really enjoyed it. And anytime you come away with a victory, the 6 hours or so that it took us to get back was a lot more enjoyable.
A lot more enjoyable. The Dragons put up a 54 spot, a big 54-14 win over Kentucky Wesleyan. Let's take a look at the scoring blaze, and a young man who seems like we talk more and more about him each and every week, Ethan Holbrook, having a great start to the season for you, and got started with a 20-yard pass from Alex Johnson, who had another big week for you, and 7-0 lead. The Dragons 11 plays, 72 yards, 5:46 off the clock, and the Dragons strike early and then strike often.
Yeah, and Ethan's done a great job. We've talked a lot about him actually in the last few weeks, but Ethan's done a great job throughout his preparation for this year, and it was great to see him get that first touchdown. Really, it was a short pass.
Yeah.
He was able to just put his foot in the ground and made a guy miss and got vertical. He's fast, so it was great to see him score early, and a great way to start the game.
Well, his second touchdown was a lot more yardage, but again, it was a short pass. A lot of the work he did on his own. Ethan again from Alex Johnson, a 60-yard play, one-play drive, just 13 seconds off the clock, and the Dragons built up a 14-0 lead. Talk about Ethan and the work he did on that play.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. It's for us at times. It's the yak yardage. It's making one guy miss. It's letting those guys in space do what they can do as athletes, and that's what he displayed on that play.
Yeah, Dragons take a 14-0 lead. Kentucky Wesleyan answers put 7 on the board. They got me feeling a little bit better about themselves, but young man who had a big day for you on Saturday running the football, Ronald Blackman, goes in from 18 yards out. Ben Rudolph, who had a nice game for you as well, finished off the extra point. 4 plays, 75 yards, only a minute 13 off the clock, and at the end of the first quarter, Dragons up 21-7, and I'm sure at that point you were liking what you were seeing out of Ronald.
Yeah, it was a good start to the game. Specifically, offensively came out hot, and yeah, Ron had a great day again, and it's good to see him continue to be consistent and the offensive line be consistent. And we run the ball, outside on the perimeter a decent amount as well, and our receivers, they'll block, and they're physical guys that want to serve each other just as much as they want the ball. So it's really cool to see that our culture's on display when they're blocking out there.
Ronald goes for over 200 yards, and you got to have blocking on the outside by your wide receivers, but also you can't run the ball for that many yards with one guy unless your offensive line has themselves a nice day.
Yeah, our offensive line has continued to get better, and that's honestly, when we talked early in the year, one of the biggest question marks we had was 5 new starters on the offensive line. What are we going to do? How is it going to shape up? And we've really had about 7 guys that have stepped up. That unit's been great for us all year, and I've really been proud of them. And Coach Rufner, being his first year as the offensive line coach here, I've been really proud of that unit. We've got a lot of work to do to finish the year strong, but they're working really hard, and it's good to see that hard work pay off.
Flip it to the other side of the ball. Your defensive line's getting healthier and healthier as the season's going on, and they've been tremendous all year long too.
Yeah, it was great to have Radical back the last couple weeks, and but seeing him back has really provided a spark for our defensive line. And man, those guys played hard, and they create a lot of chaos. They're physical, and they make our linebackers' job a little bit easier. So it's great to see. It's great to see our team play well, but also inside of each phase of the game, it's great when you can see, hey, the defensive line.
Yep.
Their play really impacts the next level.
Yep, keeping them linebackers free to go out there and make them plays. Now the second quarter, pretty evenly matched throughout that second quarter. As a matter of fact, Kentucky Wesleyan had a touchdown on the board to make it a 21-14 lead, and thinking that, they're going to be getting the ball to start the second half. And Dragon Special Team Player of the Week, Joseph Weir is your punter. Pins them deep. He had a couple punts down inside in the red area by the goal line, but this time he pins them deep, and your opportunistic defense, secondary, very opportunistic. Jacob Tueme, a 15-yard touchdown on that pick. Ben Rudolph's kick was good, and scoring in the final moments of the half is always huge. And what you can do with the defensive side, that's even bigger.
Yeah, Joseph had a great day.
He
had 3 inside of the 20, and then 2 of those were inside the 10. And,
it was a 6 and the 1, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so he had a great day. It really set us up well. But the thing that was so big about what happened there, what transpired there, is our offense, although it came out hot, we took a dip in the second quarter offensively, and our defense stepped up, and we had a great defensive second quarter. It was led by that pick 6 that Jacob had, and that's, again, we've talked each week about our team playing well off of one another. So when you talk about 3 phases as one, special teams, offense and defense working together, that's a perfect picture of that.
Yep.
Special teams comes in, lifts up the offense, and then the defense lifts up the team. It's great.
Yep. The special teams didn't actually score this week, but they set up 2 defensive scores for sure with that punt game. So Dragons take a 28-14 lead into the half, and then Ben Rudolph, we mentioned him having a really nice game. I think it was probably his career long, right? 43-yard field goal with plenty of leg on it as well. But he stepped up there, a 43-yard field goal after a 9-play, 49-yard drive, 4:49 off the clock. The Dragons increased their lead 31-14. And that kick seemed like he really... confidence was the key to that kick, because he really got into that one.
Yeah, he's been gaining confidence throughout the season. He's a true freshman, so coming in, the first few games he had a ton of confidence, and then there was a point during the season where he lost a little bit of that confidence. We tried to instill it in him at practice. He's done a great job all year at practice, but he's really worked on his consistency of his craft. And Joseph, our specialists are really tight. Joseph, Grant Woodfin, there's a bunch of guys that lift each other up in that unit, in our specialist unit. We talked a lot about Ryan, our long snapper. Those guys work really well together, but they also do a great job of lifting each other up and building confidence with one another. And
the Bogman kid, he's stepped in and filled in for you guys when you need him to as well. Ben goes, 7-7 on extra points and a field goal in that game. So he's actually now number 2 in the conference behind Ronald in scoring per game. Also in the third quarter, speaking of Ronald, a big 58-yard touchdown run. Seems like he breaks one off just about every game. Again, a one-play drive, only 11 seconds off the clock, and Ronald Blackman, you can't go 58 yards without some help from everybody on the field. Go ahead and take us through that one.
Yeah, we're trying to have a physical brand of football, and it was great to see him get explosive. And Ron's been explosive in just about every game in different ways. But the last couple, he's had some long runs, and it's been really great to see him break the game open like that for us. And you never take a sigh of relief during a game, no matter what.
Right.
But it does give you a little bit of comfortability with your play call moving forward on offense, defense, and special teams.
It's nice to have a guy like that back there that you can rely on. It's also nice to have a tight end that you can rely on. And Joey Zalewski had a couple touchdown catches in the second half. The first one towards the end of the third quarter, actually just about 11 seconds left in the third quarter. A 17-yard pass from Alex. Ben's kick was good. 7 plays, 67 yards. 3:46 off the clock, and you take that 28-14 advantage at halftime. By the end of the third quarter, you stretch it out down to 45-14.
Yeah, and again, it's taking advantage of the things that are presented to us, right?
Yep.
Whether it's offensively or defensively or even in special teams, that's a huge emphasis we have when we're studying our opponent and having a plan for the things that we've seen them do. So Joey's been able to capitalize on those things a couple times this year, and it was great to see him. He was actually, we have team awards each week. Joey was our offensive player of the game.
Excellent.
He's just been really consistent. So and a physical blocker as well.
Well, 45-yard touchdown pass from Alex Johnson to Joey Zalewski early on in the fourth quarter. So he scores touchdowns. I mean, look at this. It was about 2 minutes and 46 seconds apart of game time for Joey to get in the end zone. This time 45 yards out. He did a lot of work again, yards after the catch you mentioned. A 5-play, 61-yard drive, minute and a half off the clock. Now it's 52-14.
Yeah, for us, it's about attacking the entire field. You got 53 in the third with your width, and you want to make defenses cover the entire width of the field.
Yep.
And we want to stretch defenses, and we want to push them deep, but we also want to throw underneath and force defenders to tackle us in space. So our whole offensive approach is that we want to create that space and make teams defend us throughout the entire width and length of the field. And then defensively for us, it's to be as explosive and as chaotic as we can be, and to create problems for the offense. So. It all matches up pretty well.
Team football at the end of the football game as Joseph Weirs punts the ball down inside the 1 yard line, and Kentucky Wesleyan comes back out with under 3 minutes to play. And I know defensive linemen, they get the ball at the 1. Defensive linemen are licking their chops because they love that safety. And Kevin Hornbeek was able to get you one there at the end of the game, and your Dragons add on 2 more points to make it a 54-14 final. So your defense gets you 9 points in the game on Saturday.
Yeah, it was great to come away with that safety at the end of the game. We thought that they were probably going to run the ball out. They decided not to, which is that's their decision. And it was awesome to see our D-line pin their ears back and get after the offense. That's something that we work really hard on. And when you get down and you get a team, an offense pinned back like that, you want your D-line to perk up a little bit, right? You want that.
Don't let them out.
So it was good to see Kevin. Kevin ended up having a great game. He played a limited role in the first half, just with our rotation. Every time he was in was a short drive, and he was a little frustrated at halftime, and he came out in the second half, and he played a heck of a game. So it's great to see Kevin's response there. It was great to see him have that safety.
It's great when you can pin a team back and just not let them out. Even if you can force them to punt out of the back of the end zone, it's a fantastic thing. Set yourself up for success. Well, we look at the conference standings now after the Big Dragon win. Ashland up top, 7-0. Tiffin tied with Findlay, 6-1. And then right behind Findlay is Hillsdale. And that's who the Dragons will be playing this Saturday up at Hillsdale, coming into the season, this game with a record of 4-3 in conference play. But their record, Coach, we mentioned before the start of the program, you look at their wins and losses, it seems like the wins are piling up a little bit more as they work their way through the middle part of the season.
Yeah, Hillsdale's got a great football team, and I think when we're preparing for another team, we're not really interested in their record. We're interested in what we see on film.
Right.
What we see on film is a football team that's very good, and they play a style of football where they're gonna be in every game, and you see that as you look at some of the scores. That they've
a lot of close games.
Yeah, they've been very competitive, and for us, it's all about what we talk about every week: going out and playing our best brand of football.
Then you look at in the conference, Tiffin first in the conference, scoring at 36 points per game. Hillsdale fourth. Tiffin first in total offense and total defense. Hillsdale fourth in offense and sixth in defense. Let's take a look at some of the numbers from this past Saturday. Some of the things we want to point out first. On the individual side, Alex Johnson, 15-24, no turnovers. That's the huge part from your quarterback there. They're throwing for 349 and 4 touchdowns. So 349 on 24 attempts. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good mark. And the one thing you said, we don't want to turn the ball over ever on offense. We want to create them on defense. So it was good to see us not do that.
Yeah, Ronald goes for 23 carries, 207. Nick Johnson ends up getting 10 carries for 38 yards as well. Good to see him getting the football too. And Tyreek, Alex also touching the football. But yeah, Ronald, what's to say? He's 207 yards. You don't get a 200-yard ground game that very often. That's great to see.
Yeah, and it was good to see our Nick Johnson and Tyreek Spikes come in later in the game. And
18 carries between the two of them.
18 carries. And those guys, although it was later in the game where they got the most amount of their carries, they've done a great job when their number's been called. Right. That's the thing that we continue to talk with those guys about. They're both guys that could be a number one back. And they could be our number one back, and they've done a great job of going out and having a good positive attitude, and you see them running the ball really hard when they get in there.
Yeah.
And for us, it's about playing team football and understanding the role, and they've been really supportive of Ron. Those guys are cheering him on throughout the whole game, so it's really cool to see that. 75 yards combined between those two running backs, and about 4 yards per carry, so I love seeing that. Jalen Thomas, again, another big day, doesn't find the end zone, but still gets 132 yards on 7 catches. Ethan, just those couple catches, but in the end zone both times, and Joey Zalewski just a couple catches, and he finds the end zone a couple times as well. All in all, your receivers grabbed the ball 15 times for 349 yards, some great numbers. And then your punter, Joseph Weirs, and we mentioned him being the special teams player of the week, and he averaged 45.2 yards, 3 of them inside the 20 with a long of 50, and we'll just back up the special teams with Ben Rudolph again, 7 extra points and a made field goal, and all those things add up to some big numbers for the Dragons and the team stats as well. Yeah, and the specialists, the thing that they do so well, we ask them to do a lot, and Joseph, he would love his average on the year to be higher, but we're asking him to directionally punt a lot. We're asking him to do something different each week, and his ability to go out and execute. And I was really excited that when we nominated him for being Special Teams Player of the Week, that he got voted that, because he's done a great job all year, and it was great to see him get rewarded for that. And then Ben's done a great job stepping up, and we talked about all the other specialists. J.J. Bowman coming in and being the holder that he's been after coming off an injury. He's done a great job. So the specialists deserve a lot of praise. We do talk about them a decent amount, but we probably don't give them the praise they deserve.
You're probably right.
And
the end of the season we'll have a defensive show, an offensive show, and a special teams show. How's that?
That sounds good.
Do we talk about the offensive defensive line? A good number, I think, that always kind of supports who won those battles is first downs, and the Dragons a 27-9 advantage in first downs. On the ground, 267 to 45. Through the air, 349 to 170. We had the pick that we mentioned that was returned for a touchdown. And, total offense, 616 yards to 215. What's the highest number of offensive yards you've been a part of in a game? You know, off the top of your head?
I'm not a statistics guy.
I know you're not.
So I was pleased with the differential in yards, that's for sure. Yeah. And I think the thing for us defensively is we always want to go out and hold the team under 100 yards rushing. And then you're playing the second ranked.
Number 2 running back in the league. Yeah.
So our emphasis this past week was we need to stop the run, and the defense. Our defense did a great job of going out throughout the week and really prepping for that. So
held him to 2.4 yards per carry.
Yeah, and I was really pleased with the way that they played, with the way our D line played. We talked about that already, but it's not just that; it's fitting up the run at every level. So our linebackers, our safeties, our corners, we call upon everybody to tackle the running back.
7-14, the Dragons on third downs, holding Kentucky Wesleyan to 3 of 12. That's a great number there as well. In our red zone, we mentioned it last week, and those numbers continue to get better and better each week. 3 of 4 this week with 3 touchdowns, so that's a number that we like to see. Now, let's take a look at some of the numbers for the players. I know you don't like this stuff, but I do. Ronald Blackman leading the conference, 123 yards per game now. That's fantastic. Now, Logan Van Eckelvoort is third in the conference, the running back for Hillsdale. Tell us a little bit about what he does that makes him a special back.
Yeah, they do a great job actually with all their running backs. I mean, they do they'll rotate guys through there. They keep them fresh. Their run game is led by a great offensive line. So they're known for having a good offensive line at Hillsdale, and we know that that's what we're going to come into. Their offensive lines, their tight ends, they do a great job of blocking for those guys, and they're dynamic. They can extend runs, and we know that we're going to have to stop the run again, and that'll be the challenge for our defense.
That's all. You're playing Hillsdale. You better stop the run. Absolutely. You're going to be in a world of trouble. That's for sure. Alex Johnson leading the conference, 255 yards per game. Colin McKernan is the main quarterback throwing the football for Hillsdale. He's 8th in the conference in yards per game. Jalen Thomas leading at 94 a game. And they do have a pretty dangerous young man on the outside, Shan Rudy. He also leads the league in kick return yardage as well. So that young man's an explosive athlete.
He is an explosive athlete. We better know where he's at on the field at all times because he's a guy that they want to get to the ball, and they should. All-purpose yards leader in the conference, and it's not by mistake.
Oh, you know that stat?
Yeah, I do know that.
Okay.
One. So he's been one that we've been studying, and defensively and on special teams. Yeah, how can you not? He's had a great year, and
I'm sure he stands out on film.
Absolutely, and that's testament to, I'm sure, all the hard work that he's put in.
Ethan Holbrook leading the conference in yards per punt return, getting you that first down, 10.9 that you like so much. Chris Walton leading the league in sacks. Drake Badger for Hillsdale is 9th in the league in sacks. Then you got Justin Wimpy leading the league in interceptions, and Ronald Blackman first in scoring, and Ben Rudolph second in scoring. So those are all the numbers I'm going to make you talk about today. But the Dragons on the road at Hillsdale this week. 2 games left, a tight conference race. The regional rankings are out as well. Tiffin's in that top 10 along with a couple other teams. We'll talk more about that maybe next week because it's going to play itself out over the next couple of weeks. So it's always good to see your name up there, but there's a lot of football to be played, not only by the Dragons, but all the other teams in the region, all the other teams in our conference.
Yeah, you get notified that you're in that top 10. That's a great thing, but it doesn't matter. What we've got to focus on is going and playing at Hillsdale this week, and our guys have done an incredible job all year of staying focused on the task at hand. So, all of the things that we want that could be included in the future, they'll be there so long as we go out and we play our best and we get a win. So our focus is completely on Hillsdale, and that's the way that we've operated all season. We're going to continue to operate that way.
Yeah, everything else can happen as it wishes if Tiffin doesn't take care of their own business. None of it really matters.
Exactly.
So it's this Saturday. The Dragons up at Hillsdale. It's a 1 p.m. start. Is that
1
right?
1 p.m. kickoff.
1 p.m. start. So we won't catch this audio on WTUD, TU Dragon Radio, part of the TU Dragon Football Radio Network at 1 or at 12, and then we'll join up around 12:30 with Coast Country for our pregame show with 100.9. Hillsdale will have all the athletic video coverage, and they do a fantastic job up there with the coverage on the Great Midwest Digital Network. Coach, just let the folks know one last time what they're going to see from your kids this Saturday when the Dragons go up and battle with a tough Hillsdale Charger team.
Yeah, they're going to see us play three phases as one. They're going to see us be explosive on offense, be explosive and control the clock like we've done. They're going to see our defense create chaos and play sound football, fit up the run. That's got to be the thing that we do, stop the run first.
Yep.
And then in special teams, you'll see that be a display of our culture and tie everything together. You're going to see us flying around and with a great special teams plan. So they do a fantastic job in all three phases as well. So I'm excited to go up there and play a great game of football.
Should be a lot of fun this Saturday. The Dragons at the Hillsdale Chargers. We'll come back next week and talk about the Dragon game and get you ready for the final game of the regular season. He's Coach Brett Ekkens. I'm Russ Snyder. This has been our weekly look at Tiffin University football.